The following is a production of Fenix Media. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the company or its advertisers and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.
You know, out in Nevada near the silver mines, there's a kind-hearted woman. She's looking so fine, always taking care of her community. Bringing folks together is her cup of tea. She's out on the road and all over the web with a big smiling heart. It's About Town Deb.
And welcome to this week's episode of City Talk with About Town Deb and Sienna.
Hello.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited. But before we go deep into our amazing conversation, we're going to be a little bit more on the serious side, but we're still going to be smiling with an open heart and remember that no matter what, every day we need to try to put on a smile. And with About Town Deb, we want to cover all topics, not just my fun ones, all of them. But to even have About Town Deb out there, we want to thank FenixMedia.us. Christian, thank you for always being the man behind the curtain. And thank goodness he could do it remotely because we just need to sit back and he does all of his magic as we're watching. And we also want to thank our sponsors, Surratt Law Practice, Kim. And we are actually in Kim's office and it says Family Matters. And that's a good topic for today because family is so important. So we want to thank Surratt Law Practice. We want to thank Kirk Allure with Gratis Processing. We want to thank Rail City, our brand in Sparks, Nevada, brand new sponsor, and Wild River Grille. We're very honored to have such a variety of sponsors that really care about our community and help us get the word out about what we're doing around town. And music, Dee James. I love my theme song. Eventually he did write a whole song. So thank you, Dee James, Caliber Hair and Makeup. And now we always say a little bit about what happened. So Sienna, did we have a little opening event we had last week that you were at taking photos?
We did at Noble Pie.
It was fun.
It was fun.
And Sienna is an amazing sales girl, just got to tell you. She was selling wine. Well, she wasn't selling wine. She was enticing people to try our wine. So that was really great. And we want to thank Noble Pie Parlor and the Summit. And and Sierra Foods Market, just around the corner, across from the Atlantis, close to where we are. We can now get my wine there. So I'm really excited about that. And we went to El Dorado Wine Country. George and I. We stayed with Sherry Fitzpatrick, her bed and berries, had a great time. And Sherry's son, Hogan, proposed to his right in front of the whole family. It was her birthday, so it was great. Anyway, I'm going to let Tina introduce our guest because this is her show today.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Today we have two amazing mothers. We have Jennifer Sarmento and we have Nancy Ponte. We will be talking about two very important topics that aren't talked about enough. We will be talking about sudden cardiac arrest, and we will be talking about the importance of being an organ donor. So some of you may not know exactly what sudden cardiac arrest is, but Jen will definitely be getting into that. But a simple definition, it's when there's a sudden, unexpected loss of heart function and breathing and consciousness. And the usual cause of sudden cardiac arrest is an abnormal heart rhythm. So Jen will be talking about that and talking about all the amazing things that she has done and sharing her story. And we will also be with Nancy Ponte, talking about the importance of being an organ donor. So if you can introduce yourself, Nancy, and give a little bit of background before we get started.
I'm Nancy Ponte, and I'm a mom of two children. I'm now a volunteer for Donor Network West, and that really keeps me busy. It hasn't been because of COVID, but we're getting back to getting out in the community and sharing the importance about organ and tissue donation.
Awesome. Thank you. And I just want to say thank you both for being on today's show. I think it's really important to cover these two topics because they're not often talked about. and they are very serious. On a couple shows ago, Deb asked me my favorite nonprofit, and I immediately thought of the Kyle J. Taylor Foundation. And I thought that we should just do a whole show on it, just to raise awareness to everyone who's listening, to the community, and everybody who encounters the City Talk. And I also want to mention, I think it was really cool. Jen mentioned to me earlier, Nancy, that you volunteer at the same organization that handles Kyle's organ donations.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah. My son was an organ donor for them. Yeah.
How amazing.
I love that. That's why we're here together, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought that was very special, and I wanted to mention that.
Yes. Thank you for sharing.
So if each of you can share one fun fact about yourselves, that way we can get started into the next segment. It could be about anything, just a fun fact.
I love the outdoors.
Okay, let's have Nancy go first.
Well, I love the outdoors. I love the ocean. Anytime I can be near the water, it just makes me happy. Yeah.
I love it.
Guess that's all.
That's good.
Jennifer?
That's a good one. I can't think of one. That's a good one. I like the outdoors as well. I'm very family oriented, obviously, from what I'm doing with my foundation. But yeah, anything outside, I love to do. I feel very lucky I get to live in a place where the sun is shining and it's super warm all the time. So I'm definitely the same way as Nancy. I like the outside.
Yes. Okay, well, you know what? Now that we've talked about the outside and the temperature's heating up and summer's around the corner, we are going to take our first break. And we're honored again to be here with both you amazing women and moms that are going to share your stories with us. And if you are listening, we'd love you to chime in. Like if you have a story you would like us to cover, please be sure to chime in to at About Town Deb. So we're going to take a break. It's City Talk with About Town Deb and Sienna. Be right back.
Thank you.
Now more than ever, family matters, and Surratt Law Practice has your family in mind. Kimberly Surratt and her team have been helping maintain healthy families through their holistic approach to adoption and surrogacy, child custody, estate planning, and more for over 13 years. Your family law concerns are in caring hands with Surratt Law. Schedule your private consultation with a compassionate Surratt Law Practice team member today by calling 775-636-8200 or visiting lawyersforfamilies.com. Surratt Law, where family matters.
That'll be $73.11.
Do you have a charity that I can donate up to?
You just did.
But I didn't select any option.
It happened just by using your credit card. We recently changed our payment processing to Gratis Gives, who not only saves our company a ton of money on processing fees, but also donates a portion of every purchase to a participating local nonprofit.
Why doesn't every business do that?
If they switch to Gratis Gives like we did, they can.
Achieve real social change by contacting Gratis Gives at 855-464-7284 or online at gratisgives.com.
Don't miss all the fun and excitement at the new Rail City Casino. Play over 40 new hot penny slots, plus double down during the Party at the Pit Blackjack every Thursday through Saturday from 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. And join us for Bingo After Dark every Thursday through Saturday night for your chance to win up to $1,000 cash. When you've worked up an appetite, visit the new Ale House for delicious specials to tantalize your taste buds. Visit the new Rail City Casino today. New slots, new games, and more chances to win.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us.
She's out on the road and all over the web with a big smiling heart. It's About Town Deb.
My town, your town, or any town, this is About Town Deb presents City Talk. Now, back to the show.
And welcome back to City Talk. I am About Town Deb, your host, Debbie McCarthy with Sienna. Amazing. So we are honored, and proud and grateful to have two amazing women on our show today to talk about two important topics that are so important. So I'm going to hand the show right back over to Sienna. And she's going to get started. So take on over.
So we will be starting with Jennifer Sarmento. I'm so excited to have Jen on the show. She has always been very near and dear to my heart and with the rest of the family. And I'm just excited for her to talk about the dedication that she puts into the foundation and the dedication that she has as a mother. It is very inspiring, and I hope to be like you one day. But I want to start off by having you explain your story and what exactly inspired you to start the Kyle J. Taylor Foundation.
Sure. So first of all, thank you for having me. And you almost got me crying before I even started talking, Sienna. So, again, thank you for having me on. So my son Kyle was 18 in February of 2018 and was a college freshman at the time. Healthy, active young man, and didn't have any known issues at the time. And February 22nd, he went to a friend's house, came home from school and went to a friend's house, said, "Mom, I'm going to go play some video games. I'll be back tomorrow. We're just going to hang out for the night." And later that night, from what his friends have told me, he got up from where they were playing, left the room, and they realized that about 20 minutes had gone past and Kyle hadn't returned, and they found him collapsed in the house. And so I got the worst phone call a parent can ever get, that my child was found unconscious and not breathing and was being rushed to the hospital. So when we got there, they got Kyle situated in ICU. He's unconscious, but was breathing. And when we got there, that's the first time I heard sudden cardiac arrest, which I thought couldn't be right because he was 18, he was healthy, he was active, he was an athlete. How could sudden cardiac arrest happen to an 18-year-old? We found out that Kyle had a slightly enlarged heart at the time, and that's what caused his cardiac arrest. And then 2 days later, we were told that he would not survive because of the, he'd been down too long before CPR or an AED was used on him, and that his brain had gone too long without any of the oxygen, and so he was not going to survive. So 2 days later, on February 24th, 1 month before his 19th birthday, Kyle passed away. So the reason we started the foundation is kind of twofold for me. Being in the hospital, the thought of my son's physical life ending was hard enough, but thinking that it was going to end outside of that hospital, for me, I couldn't let that happen. And so I wanted to do something to honor Kyle, so people could see what an amazing person he is. He had the zest for life, was always active doing things, and I wanted people to hear his story. I didn't know at the time what that meant. When we were at the hospital, I just knew, I remember telling my husband, this isn't the end of Kyle's story, maybe the end of it physically, but not his story. As his mom, I have to let people know about him. And it wasn't until I started reading about sudden cardiac arrest, because I had never heard of it. I didn't know anybody that had lost a young person to cardiac arrest, didn't know that was a possibility. And it wasn't until I started reading up and seeing actually how common it is, I knew that that was my purpose in this foundation, is to talk about it, to get the word out about Kyle, but also share other people's stories. This isn't just happening to my son. This happens in our community way more often than people realize, and it's happening all over our country. Just to give you guys a couple of quick statistics just on how common it is, 1 in 300 youth have an undiagnosed heart condition that puts them at risk for cardiac arrest. It's the number one cause of death of student athletes. It's the number one cause of death on school campuses. And we lose 7,000 youth every year in this country. So that comes out to about 20 kids a day we lose in this country. And we actually lose more kids to sudden cardiac arrest than all the pediatric cancers combined, because those cancers have a higher success or a survival rate than sudden cardiac arrest. It's about 10%. And it's been like that for about 3 decades. So what we do is we go out and we talk about it, obviously, like what we're doing today, sharing Kyle's story and about cardiac arrest. We also provide free heart screenings in our community. And I can talk a little bit more about that, of why we do heart screenings, why there's an importance of that. We also provide AEDs into the community, into sports programs, high schools, middle schools, youth sports programs, and also provide AED and CPR training. So that's kind of like our 3 main areas for our foundation. And Sienna has a shirt on and I have our Be Kind. So the Be Kind to Your Heart is our kind of our heart program with our foundation. And so one of the words that was used for Kyle all the time is that he was so kind. And so we just changed the spelling of it to KYND, and it's Be Kind to Your Heart. So that's, we just tell everybody a kind heart is a healthy heart. So that's our mission, is to get out there and share what we know about cardiac arrest in youth. So.
Thank you, Jen, for sharing your story. Everyone admires your hard work and dedication more than you know, and everything that you put into the foundation and how successful and how it continues to improve. I love watching it. The next question was, how have you been able to impact the community? I know you kind of started explaining that by the heart screenings that you hold, but can you share a specific story? You don't have to name names, but of who you've helped and what exactly you do to raise awareness, if you could go into details.
Sure. So a couple stories come to mind. So there's a young man in our community where we live that heard Kyle's story and had been having some chest pains, tightness, went to the doctors and spoke up about it, and because of Kyle, and the doctors decided to do an electrocardiogram and an echo on his heart, and they found that he had a hole in his heart that he actually was born with and had never been detected before in all the years that he goes to his annual physicals or pre-participation physicals that you have to take in high school. And so that's one of them. That one's very dear to our heart because he got his heart fixed because of
what you do.
What we do, just by sharing Kyle's story, and that this is happening to young people all over the country. And then another one is at our heart screenings, we also do a CPR demonstration for people to learn CPR. It's surprising how many people don't know CPR, so we really tried to get that out. And so a mom brought her daughter to our screening, and the mom jumped in to learn a CPR demonstration, and she was a couple months later at a family event out of town and was sitting at the hotel bar, and a man collapsed. And she actually had to do CPR on him, and knew what to do, knew the steps, knew to look for an AED, knew to call, and for a 911 and that kind of thing. So, and she said, if I hadn't gone through the demonstration, I wouldn't have known what to do. So just those couple really, we've had a couple of, our last screening, we had a young man that his doctors kept telling him, it's just anxiety, stress. And so, after the EKG was done, they actually detected something that was actually on his EKG. So just trying to help that, those kinds of things happen. Those are the kind of the ones that specifically stand out to me.
Thank you. And how many high schools have you done heart screenings for?
So we've done, because of the pandemic, unfortunately, we had to shut down and not do as many. We've done we've done 2 so far. We're doing a 3rd one in August, and we're going to do another one probably in October. But of the ones that we have already done, we've already detected a few children that have issues that the parents never knew why they had a heart issue. So, and that's happening, and I can talk about that really quickly, of why that's happening is because our current physicals that our children go through miss about 85% of the issues that cause cardiac arrest in youth, because the issues cannot be heard on a stethoscope. They have to be seen through an EKG or an echocardiogram. So, a stethoscope is 200-year-old technology that has not changed in 200 years. And so it can only hear, like, if you have a heart murmur, but if you have a physical or a structural or electrical issue, it can't be heard. You'll still have a very regular heartbeat, so it's not detected. So what we do is we bring in EKGs and echoes, and we bring in medical trained staff to do these EKGs on kids free of charge for the community. So we screen about 200 to 300 kids in an event on a Saturday.
That is amazing. And one last question before this segment ends. How come we don't hear more about sudden cardiac arrest?
Well, I think because, like, for example, for Kyle, we didn't know his was, we knew it was a heart thing, but we didn't know what caused it. I think because we aren't screening our kids as often, people just assume that if they're healthy, that they couldn't have a heart issue, right? If my kid's healthy, they're fine. And a lot of them happen to kids in their sleep. And so it takes a while to figure out that it was actually their heart. You only hear about the ones that are maybe on a field, on a basketball court. An NBA player just retired this week because of a heart issue that he was detected years ago, and he just retired. So it's just not, unfortunately, it's just not talked about. And I don't know why it's not talked about, but I think the more we talk about it and the more people share our story or any other story, I think we get the awareness out there. But it's going to take a little while. But, it's a little frustrating because I'm one of those moms that was very active, and I didn't know. I thought I was doing all the right things, and I was missing something. So.
No, and it is important. That's why I thought of you to do this show, because I want to raise awareness to everyone who listens, and everyone who does listen to this. I hope you raise awareness by telling people about this and sharing stories and making sure that you get your heart screened. And I will have something to share later that Jen is offering and willing to do.
Okay, and don't go away, because when we come back from a break, we are going to have Jen give her website and all that kind of stuff, and then we're going to switch over to Nancy. So it's about 10 minutes.
Thank you.
That'll be $73.11.
Do you have a charity that I can donate up to?
You just did.
But I didn't select any option.
It happened just by using your credit card. We recently changed our payment processing to Gratis Gives, who not only saves our company a ton of money on processing fees, but also donates a portion of every purchase to a participating local nonprofit.
Why doesn't every business do that?
If they switch to Gratis Gives like we did, they can.
Achieve real social change by contacting Gratis Gives at 855-464-7284 or online at gratisgives.com.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com, brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Don't miss all the fun and excitement at the new Rail City Casino. Play over 40 new hot penny slots, plus double down during the Party at the Pit Blackjack every Thursday through Saturday from 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. And join us for Bingo After Dark every Thursday through Saturday night for your chance to win up to $1,000 cash. When you've worked up an appetite, visit the new Ale House for delicious specials to tantalize your taste buds. Visit the new Rail City Casino today. New slots, new games, and more chances to win.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us.
You know that's what you said. Come on, let's have some fun with About Town Deb.
My town, your town, or any town, this is About Town Deb presents City Talk. Now, back to the show.
And welcome back to City Talk. I'm About Town Deb, Debbie McCarthy, your host. And again, we want to thank our amazing sponsors for all they do. And without them, we would not be able to talk to these two amazing women and hear their stories. And that's what it's about. It's important. And I also want to thank Kim Surratt for the use of her beautiful office at Surratt Law Practice. And without Kim, we wouldn't have met Nancy. And we were saying on one of our breaks how we all are meant to be together, and my campaign is Together We're One Heart, and that also means we have these wristbands, and it's important to me that we do remember, number one, to be kind. That's another one of my favorite words. So when Sienna wanted you, it's like, perfect. I'm all about love and being kind, and we are together with one heart. And we also found out, and I'll let you guys, both you women, share a little bit about, we didn't even realize you do have a connection. So when it's time for the fourth break, or even Nancy, if you want to share, we can share about that. But Sienna, I'm going to turn the show back over to you, and I'll let you continue on. You're doing a great job.
Awesome. So now, Nancy, I would like you to share your story and what inspired you to become a volunteer at Donor Network West.
Well, thank you guys for having me today. It is so important to get in the community and talk about organ and tissue donation, and to, check that little box. So I'm happy to share my story with you about my daughter, Haley, and she's my inspiration as to why I am a donor. And so I'll tell you a little about Haley. Haley was 19. She was a student at UNR. She was a biology and chemistry student. She was on the dean's list for her first 2 years at UNR, and with sights in someday to go to medical school. Haley had a big heart, and she was a very loving and passionate kid. And sometimes, she did things that you're like, why'd you do that, Hay? But because of that big heart she had, she'd take everybody in. In January of 2015, I received a call about 10:30 at night from my son. And my daughter and son lived together up by the University of Nevada. And he called and he said, Mom, Haley's had an asthma attack. Well, I had silenced my phone that night, the first time I'd ever silenced my phone. And so I got a call from my son, and he said, Mom, Haley's had an asthma attack. And I never really thought anything of it because she's always had a moderate case of asthma. And so I said, okay, I'm on my way. And so I was on my way to her boyfriend's and sister's house. And on the way there, he calls me and he says, Mom, this is not looking good. The ambulance came, they transported her, she coded, the kids did CPR on her, got her to the hospital, and brought her back. She was on life support for 2.5 days. She had never had anything so severe like this because, as I said, she always had asthma, but it was always controlled with her inhaler. So this really took us by surprise. So when I got to the hospital, I still didn't think it was this serious. But when I got in there and I wasn't able to see her, I knew there was something really going on. And so Haley was on life support for 2.5 days. And We had a really good one day that things were starting to look good. But unfortunately, January 27th of 2015, Haley was declared brain dead. And that was probably the hardest day of my life. I'll never, ever forget that. And, those things don't go away. They do not go away. And I don't care. People say time will heal. It doesn't heal. So after Haley had passed, Donor Network had approached us about donation. And with Haley's side of going into the medical field, we just thought that that would be the right thing to do. And just because she was such a loving, caring young lady. So we said yes to donation for her. And little did we know, Haley had already signed up at UNR, and we didn't know that. So that sure made it a little easier for us knowing that she had made that decision. Now we had made that decision. And donation is a huge process, and I don't wish that on anybody. It's very hard. Losing somebody, being in the hospital for an extra 48 hours, for them preparing your loved one for donation. It's the hardest thing I've ever been through. But I'm very proud of my daughter. She's my hero. She's saved and healed 3 lives. She gifted her kidneys and her liver, also tissue and her corneas. And I don't know if you guys are aware of the donate or the Rose Parade down in Pasadena, but in 2019, Haley was honored at the parade. She was one of 44 of the fluorographs on the Donate Life float. And it was probably about 4 months before that, I received a letter in the mail. And the letter in the mail was from a lady that lived in Riverside, California, and she received one of Haley's corneas. So we got to meet Janice at the Rose Parade. And, it gives me chills just telling you guys about this because she's the only person that we've met. She waited 2 years to send her letter. She had a disease called Fuchs disease. And she finally sent her letter. And let me tell you, when I opened up that letter, I could hardly talk. And when I met her, I didn't even say a word. We just hugged. And she now can see so they refer to her right eye as Haley's eye when she goes to the doctor. She's doing very well. She has a picture on her at her house of Haley. And she just said, if it wasn't for Haley, I wouldn't be able to see my grandchild. So that for me is huge. And so, Haley goes on and helps. She's helped several people. And so if I can just be out in the community sharing her story and touch one person, I think that it's a good thing to do.
Thank you. That truly is amazing, very touching story. So another question is, in what ways do you get the community involved and more aware of becoming or the importance of becoming an organ donor?
So with Donor Network, they do a lot of tablings. I've spoke up at the nursing program at UNR and the driver's ed classes. I get to go in and talk about my story about Haley and just telling them how important it is to check that box. And it's okay if you don't. But if I can touch one person and tell them, how it's impacted my life. And I wasn't a donor until my daughter became a donor. And I'm very proud of that. And I will continue to be out in the community and share the importance of whatever I can do. So like I said, I'm very happy to be here today. And I hope this will inspire people to become a donor.
Thank you. And how can you register to be an organ, an eye, and tissue donor?
You can go to donornetworkwest.org, and you just go on their website, and there's a thing that comes right up, and you can click on it, and you just put your information in there. Some people like to, maybe they just want to do their eyes or their skin, so you can put those different things on there.
Okay.
Which I didn't really know that until I've been out in the community, but there's 110,000 people on the waiting list waiting for transplants.
Wow.
So that's a lot of people. So
that is, yeah. Okay, well, thank you for sharing your story. What would you advise individuals to do to raise awareness about becoming an organ donor and realizing the importance of it?
I think it's an individual person, because there are people that I have spoke to in the community, whether they say they're too old or they're not going to want my organs. There was a 95-year-old that gave his organs. And so that's huge. I mean, you would think that you wouldn't be able to, but I just think even just the literature, reading up on it a little bit. And as I said, it's really important because when Haley didn't discuss with us about, and our family never really discussed about donation, I just think it's really important that families, if you become that donor, you check that box to talk to your families. It just makes things a little bit easier going through that process.
And to know you can save people's lives out there. I think that's very important.
You can save 8 lives, Did
you say 8?
Yes.
Wow.
Plus with your organs.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. Do you have...
I am actually speechless for one of the first times. I am a organ donor, and maybe I'm hoping that we get to have Kim join us for a few moments. It looks like come on over here, Kim, if you don't mind, pop in real quick. Because we were saying thanks to Kim. Without Kim, we wouldn't have had the connection with Nancy. So there's Kim there.
Hello, sorry, I'm not close enough.
There you go. We want to thank Kim.
Yay.
When we do come back from break, Kim is going to join us for our question and answer. And I would love you to, whoever wants to share it with Kim, the connection you guys realize you two have together. I think that's really important. It's going to warm Kim's heart. So we're going to take another quick break. It's our final break. When we come back, we're going to do a little bit of a question and answer. You guys could ask each other questions as well. And again, thank you, Kim, for the hospitality of having us do the show here at your office. So it's about time to sit back and do this amazing job as hosting today. We're back with Kim and Sienna.
Now more than ever, family matters, and Surratt Law Practice has your family in mind. Kimberly Surratt and her team have been helping maintain healthy families through their holistic approach to adoption and surrogacy, child custody, estate planning, and more for over 13 years. Your family law concerns are in caring hands with Surratt Law. Schedule your private consultation with a compassionate Surratt Law Practice team member today by calling 775-636-8200 or visiting lawyersforfamilies.com. Surratt Law, where family matters.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. And they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's gonna teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The storks are bringing me a baby brother!
together. We can do this together.
All right, let's go.
Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
What?
Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't? Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No.
Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this.
You will rock this.
To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the right seat. Cool. Very cool. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all gotta see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us.
Ready to help from her toes to her head. Just give her a shout. Call About Town Deb.
My town, your town, or any town, this is About Town Deb presents City Talk. Now, back to the show.
And welcome back to the fourth and final segment of City Talk. I'm About Town Deb, your host, and we have Sienna is our main host for today. And Kim Surratt just joined us. We're so
late
happy.
as usual.
No, you know what? When you're a rock star family attorney and you're doing lobbying and everything else, your days were quite filled. But she graciously had said, "Hey, I'd love you to use. You could use my conference room, right? Would this be the conference room?"
That's it.
So we are happy to be here and. Thank you again, Kim, for the introduction to Nancy. Without you connecting, and that's what it's about. Together we're one heart, as I say. So before we continue on, I don't know who would like to between Jen and Nancy. We just realized that you guys have a connection, and that's why it made today even more special. Who would like to share?
I don't mind to share.
Okay.
So when I was reading up on this show, I noticed Nancy was a volunteer at Donor Network West. My son Kyle was also a donor, and it was handled through Donor Network West. As Nancy was sharing earlier, it's a pretty difficult process to go through, but that organization handles it amazingly. And so my son Kyle actually saved 4 people. We donated his lungs, his kidneys, his pancreas, and his liver. And so for me, I know that he's out having more life adventures. And we've been lucky enough, we've been in contact with 2 of the 4. We've actually met one in person, and I'm friends with the other one on Facebook, and I see his family. That it was his mother that got Kyle's liver. She's a great grandmother, so I joke that now my son's a great grandfather. But that was our connection, and I've actually wanted to actually volunteer a little bit at Donor Network West. Just with everything else on my plate, I haven't had the opportunity to do it, but it's a wonderful organization.
Well, I'm sure Nancy can help you pull that off. But
We can. We're always looking for volunteers.
That'd be great. We always say it's a small world, but it is so phenomenally true. It's so insanely true. I mean, Nancy and I, she had contact. She knew my boyfriend long before I did. And Dawn, who works for me, her daughter knew Nancy's daughter very well. And I mean, it goes all the way around in circles, but that's awesome. Good news.
So one important question that I do think is very important to ask, because not a lot of individuals would be able to do what you guys do. I want to ask, how were you able to convert your grief and what you went through and turn it into something so positive, like creating a foundation or becoming a volunteer and wanting to get yourself out there and helping others around the community to make sure that that doesn't happen to them?
Want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll go. For me, I really needed to find something because I was not in a good place. I have an older son as well, but I needed to find something that I could do to have a purpose and to understand what happened to Haley. because it was such a sudden thing. So I turned to Donor Network West, and I believe I've been volunteering for 5 years. It'll be 6 years in January. Haley's been gone. And, you know, those people are incredible. It's like a family, and it really has helped me come out of my shell. And I think I have grown in these 6 years losing Haley. I get to get out in the community and talk about her. And you're right, it's not easy. It's not an easy thing. And some days are harder than others. Even it's been 6 years, it's still a very touchy thing for me. But I know Haley's always with me. I know she's here with all of us today. And it's just important that you find something that will help you. And for me, for my grief, and my husband will tell you that this has really helped me a tremendous amount. And he saw within, you know, I would say maybe after 2 years with Haley, that I found my place, and that's where I needed to be. And being a volunteer and hearing other family stories, meeting the recipients, and understanding more about donation, it's been good for me. So I will continue to do what I can for our community and just get out there and spread the word.
Thank you. And Jen?
Yeah, I think kind of what Nancy said, for me, I needed to find some purpose in my grief. And as I said earlier, you know, I didn't want Kyle's life to end. It was ending physically, but I didn't want his energy to end. And, you know, being a mom, we all have our energy that we put towards our kids. And so I had to have some place to put that, my Kyle energy, as I call it. And so, you know, I needed, and knowing what I know now about sudden cardiac arrest in youth, I couldn't fathom letting another parent go through that, knowing what I know now, because I didn't know anything. And so that provides me a purpose. I mean, I knew my son was always going to do amazing things in his life. I just didn't know that it would have to be him passing to continue doing amazing things in this world. And so that's my mission, is just to continue getting him out there and sharing his story and other stories. And it definitely helps. I mean, like Nancy said, there are hard days. There's some days after an event, I just collapse and cry because I wish I didn't have to do this, but I don't feel like I have to. I just feel this push for me to do it, and I need to do it. But I wish I didn't have to sometimes. So, but it does definitely help me with my grief, knowing that just sharing our story or having a screening where I could save one family from possibly going through this motivates me every single day.
Thank you. And I know both Kyle and Haley are looking down and are so thankful to have you two as their mothers. Another question, what's your favorite part? I mean, I'm sure there's countless, but what is your guys' favorite part of doing what you do?
I just like getting out there and, oh, sorry, Jen.
No, go ahead.
I just like getting out and being in the community and just talking to people. You know, what I've found is people don't want to ask you. They don't know what to say. So when I do these tablings or whatever it may be, I always say, you can ask me any question you want. I want to talk to you about Haley. And that's what helps me each and every day. So I'll just keep being out in the community. And as Jen said, it is hard, you know, and it's draining, you know, because you're always talking about that story, that bad part that happened in your life. But there's a lot of good that has come out of a bad situation. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that, Nancy. I would say for me, being out in the community as well, and just having people come up and thanking us for what we're doing, and you know, especially the people that find out that their child has an issue, and because of what we're doing, they're following up and going to the doctors to make sure that their child's okay. And talking about Kyle, even though it would drive him absolutely insane because he did not like being the center of attention, telling his story and talking about him, that I enjoy doing that as well. And like Nancy said too, it's hard. And people think, oh, well, I don't want to bring it up because I don't want to remind them, but it doesn't ever leave us. It's always there. You don't like forget that you lost your child. So it's, it gives us an opportunity, it gives me an opportunity and my husband and my daughter to talk about him and share his story. So I would say that's probably my favorite part.
Thank you. Do you have any questions, Kim?
Because we're down.
I know what the grief's like from a different angle, not losing a child, but my best friend. But the education that comes from that, like Nancy, you post all the time about Haley, and I have really bad asthma, and I was very neglectful of it often and very lackadaisical about it often. And every post you do, I think twice about it now, and I'm much more careful about it. And I call it a spider web effect, which is you might think you're talking just about organ donation, but what you're really doing is reminding people. And the spider web effect of that little bit of information that goes out in the branches of how far it goes are extreme. And you're both doing amazing things to help a lot of people beyond just what you're doing. Because the spider web effect's huge and well worth it and very inspirational.
Yeah, you two are very, very inspiring. Jen, you always have inspired me, but both of you are very inspiring and kind-hearted people. And I want to thank you both for being on today's show. And one more thing that I do want to mention, if anyone is wanting more information about sudden cardiac arrest or wanting heart screenings, you can reach out to Jennifer Sarmento via Facebook or email. You can reach out to us and we'll give you her information. And she is willing to do heart screenings and willing to travel to different places. If it's wanting in Reno or another location, she is willing to do that. And I think that is absolutely amazing. But I do want to say a huge thank you to Jennifer and Nancy for sharing their stories and just being the people you are and for doing what you do. You two genuinely are both strong individuals and make this world a better place. And thank you for caring so much about others and being able to do what you do.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you both again. And Kim, thank you. And Sienna, I am so proud of you for doing an amazing job today. She's going to accomplish great things. And I think I'm going to let her take over the show again. So we will see you next week. Next week, Jazzy, George, and I will be in Mexico. So I don't know where you're going to see us, on the beach, in the pool. I don't know. It's going to be fun. But we will see you next week. It's About Town Deb.